Hi there, lovelies. So I'm going to do a fireside chat tonight. Um, I've done a video before on this topic, but somehow or another it's been deleted. Um, anyway, so I'm going to do it again. So grab your coffee or your glass of wine or whatever it is that you're having tonight, and I'll tell you a true story about my brush with evil. And it really is a brush with evil. So I'll take you back to the early 60s, the very early 60s. And I was a young girl, young and young, let's put it that way. So I nearly said young and stupid, which would be correct. But anyway, there we are. So I was a young girl and I had a boyfriend, and I was meeting the boyfriend when he finished work. And it was about around 7 o'clock at night. And it was in Bolton in Lancashire. I lived there. And I was standing at a bus station, the bus station in Bolton. I'll never forget it. It was dark. I don't know what time of the year it was, but anyway. But it was dark. And so it wasn't summer time, I shouldn't imagine. High summer. But anyway, so I'm standing at the bus stop. And this woman approaches me. And I can see it. As I said that, I was seeing her approach me. It left such a, such an incredible sort of effect. So I'm seeing her approach me. And I'll tell you exactly what she was wearing. She was bleach blonde, really peroxide blonde, right? And she had short hair, but it was in a big beehive, which was the fashion at the time. You know what I mean by that? Back comb to high heaven, and like that. So she was wearing a grey blue woolen A-line coat, which was the fashion at the time, and it had a big wide neck, collar, a big wide collar, about, oh, I don't know, something like that. Big wide collar that came across there, and usually a massive button, great big oversized button here. So you got the impression, A-line coat. I'll never forget it. And she walked up to me, and she was taller than I am. And she wasn't tall, but she wasn't short. I don't know. What would I put her at? I don't know. I don't know now. 5'5", 5'6", something like that. Anyway, she walked up to me at the bus station, and I was waiting for a bus to go to Manchester. But I wasn't going to Manchester. I was going about halfway. I was going to a place called Radcliffe. So she walks up to me, and straight away she started getting into conversation. And she said to me, "Oh, I like you. I like your coat." And I said, "Oh, well, thank you." And she carried on chat, chit chat. And then she liked something else. She liked my shoes. That's right. "Well, I like your shoes. Your shoes are really nice. Where'd you get those?" And conversation like that. "And where do you live? And where do you work?" And all that. So at the time, I think I was working at a place called Gestetner, and they made duplicators. And I worked in the office, and Anyway, she chit chat, but not about herself, all about asking questions about me. And so she likes something else as well. Bit of chit chat. Oh, I like that. Bit of chit chat. Oh, I like that you're wearing. Oh, I like your bag. I like your bag. That's really nice. That bag. I've got one similar, but that kind of thing, right? We So I go to get. I didn't like her. I'll be honest with you. I didn't like her. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. There was something about her I didn't like. I didn't have a clue who she was. Didn't know who she was. Um, you know, in those days, like young people, they didn't they didn't watch the news. Like teenagers. Teenagers didn't watch the news unless it was a big disaster or something, and it was on the television all the time. So I had no idea who she was. So get on the bus, and she sits next to me, pinning me in because I sat on the window side, and she pinned me in on the aisle side. And straight away I thought, oh no, how am I going to get rid of her? So I knew that I couldn't get rid of her, but because she told me she was going to Manchester, which was the full way. So she chit chat. It was all chit chat, general stuff, but like I said, more about me, where I worked, where I lived, this and that. Did I have a boyfriend and all that? I said, yeah, I'm going to meet my boyfriend from work, from his work. And do you know what she said? She said, don't go and meet your boyfriend. Come to my house. We're having a party. It's going to be way better than meeting your boyfriend. I was absolutely taken aback. I mean, who says that? Who says things like that to you? Don't go and do what you're doing, just come to my house. So I didn't realize at the time because, being young and stupid. I always say that about young people because everybody I've met, everybody, now this might include you as well. When you're young, and I mean young, like 15, 16, upwards, 14, maybe, upwards. If you think back, if you're about my age, old, but if you're around, oh, if you're around my age, you think back and think of some of the things that you did, and you think, what was I thinking about? I mean, I bet, I'll bet that everybody has had that experience. What was I thinking about? But anyway, because that's part of it, isn't it? It's part of being young. But anyway, so, but thinking about it later, of course, I didn't go. I wasn't that stupid. But thinking about it, it totally unnerved me. Nobody says that to you. Don't go. You come to my house. So anyway, uh, thinking about it later, who, if they're having a party at their home, who on earth is sitting on a bus going somewhere? They wouldn't be, would they? They'd be at home preparing for the party. Actually, the party would at 7 o'clock at night would be going, wouldn't it? Usually, I mean, you know, usually, I would think. And you'd be there, wouldn't you, organising the food, and you wouldn't be sitting on the bus trying to get somebody to go to your house. Very odd. Needless to say, I didn't go. I got off the bus She did everything in her power to get me to go. She said she got, you know, do you like clothes? Oh, I've got some gorgeous clothes, evening dresses. You'd love to see them. You could try them on. Mad, teenagers love clothes, things like that. Anyway, so I went and I got off the bus. Now, I told my boyfriend straight away, obviously, because it's not every day somebody says something like that to you, is it? So I told him, and I told later on, not at what I didn't tell anybody. I told my sister later on in life, I might have told two sisters. Apart from that, never told anybody. And I'll tell you the reason why. The main reason was that I had a boyfriend and I was really young, like 15, 16. And I didn't know how that would go down with my parents, you know. Probably thought I was meeting a girlfriend, you know. But I didn't know how that would go down. I don't think it would have gone down very well. So I was concealing that. So I couldn't say, oh, this happened, because even if it was meeting a girlfriend, they would have said, oh no, you can't go there anymore. It's too dangerous. There's weird people about, and no, stop me doing it, in other words. So I didn't, that was one reason. And later in life, when I realized who would approach me, and anybody around my age now that was, young in the 60s, probably know where I'm going with this, or have guessed where I'm going with it. In the 60s, so there was a horrendous case of, they called them the Moors murderers. And it was Ian Brady and Myra Hindley. And it was horrendous what they did. And they lured children and young people to their house. It was terrible, terrible. And it was all over the news when they got caught, which was early 60s. Now, this must have been, obviously, around, it was just before. It was just literally, it was probably as recent as 2 months before they got caught that this happened to me. And it was all over the news. Myra Hindley, Ian Brady, Myra Hindley. And it showed a picture of her. And I knew instantly it was her. It was her that I sat next to on the bus that day, that night. There was no mistaking her, because she had this bleached blonde, peroxide blonde hair in a big beehive. There's just no mistaking her at all. And that, then I definitely wasn't going to mention it to anybody. So I kept this secret all my life, that it was her. And there was another reason. There's another reason now, at this point, that I didn't want to tell anybody. And that reason is that I didn't want to be interviewed. I didn't want press or, that kind of thing, trying to interview me. Oh, you had a narrow escape from this, this Myra Hindley. I can't say things on YouTube which I want to say, but they have to say things like the unalived people and that kind of thing, which it's stupid. I don't know why you can't just come out with it, but I can't. So anyway, but you know what I mean. And so, and my sister said to me, really, you should share that. You should, that's like it's a historical fact, really. You should share it. And I said, well, I still don't want anybody interviewing me because I've just told you the story and that's it. That's all there is to it. There's no, there's no more to the story than exactly what I've told you. And, you know, there was one of the cases that there must have been loads of people. She tried, you're not telling me, I'm one of a few. I bet there were loads of people that she tried to lure so that he could get rid of him. Don't bear thinking about, does it? Scary. But anyway, there was one case that he did get away. It was a young boy. I don't know how old he was, but I think there's a YouTube video where he's being interviewed. I've seen the interview. He was a young lad. Obviously, he's sort of my age, or might be younger than me, but around that. So, he was on a playground. I think he was somewhere about 11, or something like that, 11 or 12. And he was on a playground, a kiddie's playground. And she went up to him and said, "Are you hungry?" And he said, "Yeah," you know, kids. And in those days, especially, like they had like banana sandwich and things like that. Anyway, so she said, "Well, I just live round the corner. Come to mine, and I'll make you some sandwiches." And he said, "Yeah, okay then." And he went with her, and she was all smiles and she was all lovely with him. And the minute they got through the door, her demeanour changed totally. And she went into the kitchen. She took him in the kitchen, and she didn't make any moves whatsoever to make him a sandwich. And he overheard something. A man, he overheard in the next room something. I can't remember what that something was, but it was enough to scare him. And so he thought, "I'm out of here." And there was a window, one of those sash windows, and he lifted it. He's lucky it was working, wasn't it? But anyway, he lifted it and he got through. And just as he was getting through, somebody grabbed his ankles. But he did manage to struggle and he ran like the wind and got away. And he was interviewed. Um, but that was all that there was to his story as well. Just what I've told you. But he was interviewed. And yeah, so he had a lucky escape. And like I said, there must have been loads of people had a lucky escape, and I was one of them. But anyway, there you go. So that's my fireside chat for the evening. You can have a good think about it because, like I said, I'm sure that the majority of people that are watching this video that actually know what I'm talking about, Myra Hindley and Ian Brady, prolific people that got rid of people, children mainly. And I'm sure that there's a lot of stories out there. There must be loads and loads of stories. I'd love to know, actually, other people, like, especially if you're a teenager, as gullible are you as a 11-year-old or a 9-year-old or a 6-year-old? Anyway, so there we are. So I hope you enjoyed the fireside chat. It's given you something to think about as well. And I'll see you next time. Meanwhile, love from the land of mist and legend and the cottage. Bye for now.